welcome up in level, another edition of the Sports Edition. I'm your boy Thurman, aka Furby, alongside with the more polished Osiris the Virus.
What's going on, y'all?
Who got a bounce back week this weekend. And we're going to talk all about the NFL football playoffs. This episode is going to be all about NFL because we just love football like that.
I mean,
And if you don't like it, tough sugar.
we're at the end of the NFL season anyway, so that's the priority, even though we got basketball. But football right now is at its end. So let's talk about football. Thurman. Talk to me, Thurman.
All right, so in a not so stunning victory, the Kansas City Chiefs pulls it off, 23-14 against the Houston Texans, and making the Chiefs go to the championship for a 7th straight year. Cyrus, what happened in this game?
Well, y'all was like what 6-0 going into this game. So the stats show that every time Mahomes plays in this round, y'all gonna win. But we both picked the Kansas City Chiefs to win this game anyway because we didn't believe much that Houston had enough to win against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. But the only takeaway I get from it, as far as from the Kansas City side, is my concern is your offense. Defense, I don't have no problem with your team. Your offense is the fact that you only mustered 23 points against Houston. You had Patrick Mahomes with 177 yards. The only biggest target you had was Travis Kelce with 117 yards, 8 targets, 1 touchdown. Like that's my only concern as far as you moving on to the next round. But we picked the Chiefs to beat.
We picked the Chiefs to win, but here's the thing. All right, so I'm gonna hit on some of your things that you're worried about the offense.
Mhm.
Don't get so hung up on these explosive plays. And I understand that the NFL is all about explosive offenses. But Kansas City has been showing you all year it doesn't take explosive plays all the time. Play here, play there, get the job done. That's what you need to do is just get the job done. It wasn't pretty all the time. It was definitely not pretty. And then as far as Patrick Mahomes, again, Texans had a great pass rush, which the next game, Buffalo, which we'll get to a little bit more, but the way that Kansas City was flowing with the game, it was just they had control of the game for majority of the game. It was just that offensive line was still shaky.
But I don't want to say just explosive plays. I just think they just need more than one target. You understand what I'm saying? That's my concern. So I understand they don't have like Tyreek Hill. I get that to have that explosive play. But I just think that you having more than one target, because like I said, Travis Kelce 117, Kareem Hunt only have 44 yards on the ground. I just think that on the running game, Pacheco, if I go to Pacheco had 18 yards. See what I'm saying? So my thing is that's not about much about explosive plays. It's about having more than one target.
I get it. Worthy showed out a little bit, made an outstanding catch near the red zone. The other wide receivers have to show up. For the next game, they have to show up. I do have to give you that.
And you can't rely on the refs. Because the refs on this game, there was one play that I was like, listen, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback right now. But I just think that there are tendencies he does not need to do as far as I'm going to say flopping. There was one play.
The out of bounds play where
and they flop. You don't need to do that. You know what I'm saying? You're the greatest football player of all time. But to get those type of cheap calls is like, that's what I'm saying. You don't need, but I understand offense. This is why I say concerned about offense, that you have to rely on something like that just to get a couple of yards.
I hear that. Let us know what you guys think about this game. Do the Chiefs have what it takes to get to the next round? And moving on to our other game that Saturday night where we had the Lions heavily favored, the most favorite out of the whole games. And somebody to the right of me was really pushing hard this year to make it to the Super Bowl, not only making it, but winning it. Why? Because they had that high-powered offense, right? Or that high-powered offense had 5 turnovers. No matter how good you are, you can't beat those turnovers. And the rookie, Jaden Daniels, coming through and leading his team, the Washington Commanders, 45-31 upset against the Detroit Lions. What happened?
Jaden Daniels was 299 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was 22 of 31 in that game. Now, he's getting at me because I'm well documented that I'm the one that had the Lions #1 as winning the Super Bowl. I had the best story, right, as far as the Lions winning the Super Bowl. I kept praising about this high offense, especially that the defense was compromised. My only, I don't know if you want to call it excuses, I just think that because the 13 men, our defense was compromised. I don't say our defense because again, I'm not a Lions fan. I just picked them to win, but still, I gotta own it. Uh, but I just think that they were compromised as far as defensively. That showed out in yesterday's game, especially against the Washington Commanders. And then those 5 turnovers I think is because of a product because you had to like push the ball offensively, knowing that you was defense because they wasn't stopping nobody. They couldn't even stop a nosebleed. So I just think that them pushing offensively, plus I think having that bye week, I think kind of cooled off the offense. That's another excuse I can give out. But I was on that wagon as far as saying that the Lions were going to be the Lions were the best team in the NFL and they was going to win. So I own it. They're out. The best team doesn't always win. That's what we love about football, and that's what happened.
So I think this particular game was more about Washington than it was Detroit. So I'm gonna have to give you a little bailout. Yes, 5 turnovers. It's hard to win. It's hard to win when you do five
Yeah, if
turnovers.
you do that
And I
again,
know Detroit done it earlier in the season, but that's regular season.
I agree.
Playoffs, everything is magnified.
I agree. I was going to say that it's one thing you do it in the season, but if you do it in the
In
playoffs,
playoffs, it's everything is
I
magnified.
always say one turnover is -7.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
totally agree. And Washington, nobody expected Jaden Daniels to ball out like he's balling out the first 2 weeks. Now, Jaden Daniels, here's an interesting stat. He is, for the past 2 playoff games, as a road team, has only 1 punt and only 1 sack. That's near perfect QBR. That's a near perfect QBR.
You know, it's funny that you bring that up because I'm like I said, I'm well documented when you talked about this kid that I kept saying, look, he had a great season, but now this is the playoffs where the lights shine the brightest, and he's not playing like he's not playing like a rookie in that environment.
He's not.
So I was one of them that say, what I'm saying, like, oh, congratulations, they made it this far. But this is where the big boys come in and and the lights and the fact that I was like, all right, he got past the first round, cool. You was the one that was like, yo, Danny. And I was like, okay, we'll see. After they beat the Lions, I was like, you know what? Can this kid win the Super Bowl?
You know what's funny about that is that the whole I thought with the whole Detroit, I thought this game was gonna be close. I didn't think this high score pop. If I was a betting man, I was gonna really go for the under on honestly.
I did say high powered.
But
I think I said high powered, right?
yeah, I didn't think both teams would have that. But however, I thought this game was gonna be close, and it was gonna be close because the defense of Washington was slept on. And 4th and 5 turnovers really showed
There
that.
was one call that when Derek Goff got hit and the rest didn't call. I think that stops it.
That was during the back 6, yes.
Yeah, so I just think that there were certain plays I guess didn't go the Lions' way. But again, hats off to the Commanders. They
Congratulations. And that was the end of the Saturday's #1 seeds matchups. Let us know what you guys thought. Were you surprised about Detroit? Were you surprised KC ended up winning? Are you still picking or are you still hating on the KC Chiefs? Let us know in the comments. Comments down below. Like, subscribe, and again, comment. Let us know. Stay engaged with us. Now the other game. Now into the Sunday's games. Now in the snowy games, which is funny. Both games were in snow territories on the East Coast.
Yeah, the Sunday game. Yeah, the weather was horrible on Sunday.
East Coast got it bad with snow, and both games were pretty much affected by the snow and the elements of it.
Visually, it looked beautiful, but
Visually it did.
yeah.
I mean, as a fan, you're like, yay, but the Philadelphia Eagles hang on, and that's the key word. They hung on, 28-22 against the LA Rams. Now, I told you before this game happened that out of all the games, the most upset I think that could have happened was this game, and it came close. It came close, and it sadly is for the reasons you laid out before that game happened.
And you keep saying the game was close. Why? Like, why you think the game was close?
Well, I thought the game was close because Philly was just keeping them in the game. The passing game was not there. If it wasn't for the two,
Again, that's the concern. It's not just it's again, even if it's one.
is this a formula that can survive the rest of the playoffs? Is the real question. So far, the past 2 games, they're able to deal with opponents that can't really figure it out. the two back kind of system, the RPO. The thing about Philadelphia, when you need to get a first down before with Jalen Hurts, quick dump to AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, quick dump to your safety or your safety
Got him.
to Goddard, and you get your first down and you keep sustaining drives. This isn't that same Philadelphia team, and then it's scary. And I have them going to the Super Bowl, losing to my Kansas City Chiefs. So, like, I have to admit, I'm a bit worried about my pick the next
Rams,
round.
right? And I did text you over the weekend. Hey, I might switch to the Rams. I said I might, but even though I still have Philly, I picked Philly. Like you know what I'm saying. But the game was close. Going to Stafford, he had over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 324 yards, 2 touchdowns over this defense, this secondary. But they still had Matthew Stafford on the floor, I think, like 5 times.
Yeah.
I think the Rams lost. They lost it and then also when Jalen Carter came up the middle and sacked the Rams on that drive, that I think that could have probably won them the game. But that's the thing about what concerns me about Philly is that because of your offense is why Rams was still in the game. Defensively, you was holding them back.
It's lost because the Rams had opportunity. They had it.
Yeah, the Rams. I think the Rams lost because the Rams lost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's controversial to say, but I think the Rams lost because they, you didn't protect Stafford on that play when he got sacked, when Jalen Carter came down the middle. But like you said, like I was saying to you, yeah, you got those 3 big home run touchdowns. The first one from Jalen, and then the two after. Uh, but the thing with Jalen is, like I said, with the passing game, when I said I wanted to leave him last, was he only had 128 yards, 0 touchdowns.
I think Kellen Moore, who's not typically a run offense type of guy, has got spoiled having Saquon. Meaning that he feels like he has that safety blanket. Remember when the Yankees were winning the championships in the 90s?
Yeah.
And early 2000s? What was the one thing that we all took for granted?
Pitching.
Mariano.
Oh, yeah.
Mariano at the end of the game. We knew the game was over. It was done. Bring her in, whatever, and then the game was shut down. And we took as Yankee fans, we took that for granted. I think you can think about the same principle when it comes to Kellen Moore and his play call.
You think it's that?
I think
I'm looking at Jalen Hurts.
I mean,
I'm looking at Jalen Hurts. You're holding the ball too long. You know what I'm saying? You're not when you instead of getting rid of the ball, you're taking hits, unnecessary hits. And a hit now that occurred a knee injury that had to take you out temporarily out of the game. So I'm looking at Jalen Hurts. But I bet you with Kellen Moore, maybe he's not getting the calls. He's not picking the calls correctly. But right now, I'm looking at the problem with the offense. I'm looking at specifically at Jalen Hurts. I think he's compromised.
well, moving on to the last game, and they didn't live up to the hype. 27-25 game. It like honestly, when Vegas tells you it's a 1.5 spread, you gotta pay attention, folks. You gotta pay attention.
Thurman, who did you pick winning this game?
So I lost by picking the Baltimore Ravens, thinking that Lamar would do it out. But at the end of the day, it was like Lamar had said at the press conference, it was the turnovers. I personally believe the turnover that Lamar had with the fumble was more of a turning point because that led to points. The turnover with Mark Andrews, when you're trying, but at the end of the day, that defense stood up and then they stopped them. You know what I'm saying? So, and there still was a chance to win the game. Now you take away the fumble that Lamar did. Look, the interception that was bad, but what really hurt him that game was that fumble.
How about the fumble order with Mark Andrews as well? Not just the drop at the end of the game, but the fumble.
No, that's what I was talking about. It didn't lead to points. I think they scaled from that. I didn't think that was that much damaging. It killed momentum, but it wasn't that much damage.
I think in this specific game, I think those three turnovers was the key point. Period. Yeah, I'm gonna say the level of what you're saying as far as the turnover for the drop from Lamar Jackson was much bigger because the fact that if you didn't have that drop, and then Von Miller goes and running for a touchdown, and you would not be in a position where Mark Andrews drops the ball. But those 3 turnovers did occur because Buffalo had 0. Buffalo played great complementary for football through the entire game. They control the ball. They had 0 turnovers. So those 3 turnovers specifically killed Baltimore. Baltimore lost because Baltimore lost. As much as Buffalo didn't have a big crazy game. They didn't have like this big breakout game. This game came down to who was responsible with the football, and who was responsible with the football. And these 2 was Buffalo. I believe those 3 turnovers killed the season. But I just think that this game came down to who had the best jabs instead of who having the best knockout.
I agree. So let us know what you guys think. This was a fun weekend. No matter what, all 4 games was close. They were tight and they were suspenseful.
After this weekend, because like I said, we do the bracket over here, and for fun, I do the like I said, wins or losses, but again, no money involved. So right now, Thurman, I'm 5-4, and you're 5-2.
5-2, sure. 7-2.
I'm 7-2. I'm sorry.
7-2. Oh, shout the guy out.
7-2. So like my math was wrong. So yeah, he's 7-2. So right now he holds a commanding lead by 2 games. We got 2 games coming up this weekend, so I might take the lead, but let's see what happens.
Who knows?
But yeah, so this is us right here, Thurman. You got bragging rights right now.
But right about now, but it's an NFL, and the weekend is fleeting.
2 points.
So but let us know what you guys think. How is your brackets going? Is everything going all right? Comment down below, like, subscribe, and share. You know the deal. Up and level, follow us. And now, moving on to our championship weekend coming up this weekend. So this Sunday, we're going to have the Washington Commanders at 12-5 playing against the Philadelphia Eagles at 14-3. It's a 3:00 game playing on Fox.
I think these choices got harder.
These choices got a lot harder. I'm not gonna lie.
Especially after all the things that we said about the teams.
Yeah.
Because especially now that you're bringing it, I think out of the 2 games, I think the 3:30 games is the hardest one to choose.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree. But there's a little bias in the other game, so it's easier pick.
So who you got coming out of that game?
So I'm staying true, believe it or not, I'm staying true to my preseason pick and my postseason pick, where I'm saying the Eagles versus KC. So I got to stick with the Eagles. This is going to be scary. I in my heart, and again, it's one of those heart games where the heart is actually room for Washington to pull it out. But I think some way, somehow, Philadelphia will find a way. Saquon will make it to his first Super Bowl.
Look at Washington. After all the things we said about both teams, don't get me wrong, Philly's defense is of the teams that's left in the playoff. I think Philly has the best defense, right? But their offense is just, unless it's a home run, Washington right now is coming in on fire. What I always said about football is the team that's on fire is the one that wins the whole thing. And out of all the teams that's left in the NFL playoffs, the hottest team is the Commanders is the one that's the most momentum. So I'm going to pick Washington because I have a very huge concern with Jalen Hurts' knee, especially I already had concerns with their passing game. If they're only relying on Saquon Barkley being a home run hitter, then I'm going to have to pick Washington in this round, Thurman.
That's one way to get that point.
I think that also, yeah. I think that's what it is. Also, I think I'm gonna have to go with a difference, but the difference is not just that. I just think that's unbelievable.
No, I totally.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree where you're coming from, and again, like I said, my heart and my brain is technically going for Washington, but I'm just saying
because you're picking but you don't have any concern. Like we
have tons of concerns.
But we were just talking about from the next round. I said we're gonna talk about this round. You don't have like concerns about this.
I do. I have more concerns than I did going into the LA Rams game. Here's the killer part about this pick, and this is what really makes it hard. The 2 NFC East teams. Now the NFC East can play like shit against anybody else.
I think it's the 5th time.
But when they play each other, those games become so unpredictable, no matter how crap you are.
Because they know each other.
Because they know each other so well. These general managers are pitting each other against each other. The coaches are pitting against each other. They're studying each other's moves during the
So,
offseason.
so you have the Phillies defense as the X factor to hold back Washington as like because I think in this thing is too hard to pick a player, right?
Yeah.
Because if I had to pick an X factor for Philly, it would be the defense as well. I can't pick Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley is easy to pick. Oh, he's the X factor. Of course, he's going to get his right. But if if I just think that if Philly holds back Washington, which I think right now it's very hard the way Washington is looking,
I know.
this was a tough one. But I just think that keeping Philly's defense against Washington, I think that it'll bend a little bit to a point that Washington might actually squeeze this one out. So
I do say if Washington wins, it'll be because Jalen did a last minute drive. Whether field goal or
he has
touchdown,
the
they
most
did a
he has
last
the
minute
most
drive.
season, right? He has the most
hmm
season.
I mean,
I-
watch out for that kid.
th-
Like we were talking about Mahomes when he first came out. This kid is showing
this was a
limits
tough
up
one.
there.
Did you see? By the way, real quick, I think you sent it to me, which was impressive. That when he's not training with the guys, he's off training doing virtual reality.
So for those who don't know, Jaden Daniels wakes up every morning at 6 in the morning, and there's a German company that deals with virtual reality, and they set him up with virtual, and they created this program for him where he gets to go in under the goggles,
Simulation.
simulations of different teams, and through AI gets to figure out. So when he's by the time he's in the game, he's comfortable. He knows what teams are pretty much how they're going to play him. So that's a huge advantage there,
Uh,
which I think, like you said, is a genius.
what I like about it is that because not everybody's. I'm not saying he's not book smart because I'm pretty sure he is. But sometimes, I'm just saying some people may not be book smart, but when they visually see something, they become like, okay, I can learn this way, even though you're still teaching me this from the book, but I'm learning it in this kind of format. So I just think that that's what he's doing to help him improve his game. And because there are some passes, and you sit there and be like, yeah, I could see where he's getting them passes from. So when you sent that to me earlier, I was very impressed. So that's why I'm over here like, man, there's a movie that's based on that. I think it's a racing game, a racing movie.
Oh yes,
Yes,
Formula One. Yes.
yes. So I was thinking of that. I'm like, he might win the Super Bowl because this guy takes virtual reality
I mean,
training. So
like honestly, that's genius, and the fact that and from what I'm hearing, he's been using that since the LSU days, and it's been beneficial for him. So, like, I mean, another feather on the cap of a rookie that's just about to blow the lid
it
off.
was you. It was you. Remember, I was the beginning. I was like, oh no, he's not getting the playoffs.
I mean, sometimes
Now look at me now.
sometimes you got to look at the eyes. Like when I first see Mahomes, and my first exposure to Mahomes, like I heard about when the Kansas City moving up on the draft, but you're like, yeah, whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of baseball players' sons become quarterbacks and stuff like that. I get that. So I wasn't really into it. But then when it was the KC that they clinched already the playoffs. It was the last game of the year. Alex Smith sits out for the second half, and they bring in Mahomes. No, another effort throws for 3 touchdowns within like 1 quarter, and just lights it up. And you're like, wait a minute, like, and then they're already talking about having Mahomes playing the playoff game instead of Alex Smith. We got the Buffalo Bills at 13-4, heading into Arrowhead. Kansas City Chiefs at 15-2, which technically is 15-1, and that one loss came to from the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, helping now. Yeah,
Cyrus, I'm gonna
helping.
let you go, man, because we all know where I'm leaning towards, and there's not much that I can say.
Look, my thing with this, with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, I got Buffalo Bills winning this game. No, not because he's a Kansas City fan. Because I think that if Baltimore would have beat, no, because I think that if Baltimore would have beaten Buffalo, I would have leaned more towards Kansas City being Buffalo, right? But because it's Buffalo that beat Baltimore, and now they're going up against KC. I'm picking Buffalo because I just think that, well, one, even though I always said that, even though you played them in week 11 and Buffalo blew you out, it was like 21, 31,
I
20.
think it was week 6. Week 6.
Week 6?
Yeah.
But they're the different teams from what they played back then.
You sure were?
But I just think that looking at the way the Buffalo Bills are playing right now, they're playing complementary football, no turnovers in the last 8 games. So just to show you that they're playing with precision. Um, And I just think that the defense, for even though it's your defense, I think is the second best defense left in the playoffs. I just don't think that you defensively can stop Josh Allen. I think he will put on the Superman cape because he knows. I think he knows that to beat the boogeyman, he has to be the one to put on that cape and beat him. So
Yes.
I think that he'd be. So that's why I think it's more for that. I don't want to sit there picking Buffalo because you're just picking Kansas City automatically. Because again, if it was Baltimore, I would have picked Kansas City because I just think that you guys could defensively stop Lamar. Guys could force Lamar Jackson to throw the ball instead of running, and then you got Patrick Mahomes doing his thing. I just think that collectively, Kansas City against Buffalo, I don't think you guys have enough to stop collectively what Buffalo is doing. So I got Buffalo winning this game, Thurman.
So let me give you 3 reasons Kansas City is winning this game. Reason number 1, and probably the number 1 reason why they will win this game, is their defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo. It's not so much the personnel that's on that team, as far as the defensive side, but it's the scheme and the way he schemes and the way he shows up for the playoffs and the way he'll dissect your offense, pick it apart like you were never played the game before. At times, I don't get it wrong. Buffalo's going to be a real big challenge. Number 2, the chance for history, and Kelce is hinting already that this might be his last year. That alone, the chance to do a 3P and for Kelce to go out in a ball of flames, like you gotta fight for your life to party. And 3, for the final and pretty obvious one, we have the number 1 quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. We have the number 1 quarterback who knows how to get it done. As much as I hated on New England Patriots and Brady and the magic that he did through all the times, we was like, the team is going to beat him. The team is going to finally be the team that beats him. And what happens? Last minute drive, Brady leads them down. Boom, New England wins.
So you think that's going to happen with Kansas City and Buffalo? Do you think it's going to be a close game, right?
I do think this is going to be a close game. So Kansas City is the 4th team to try to go for a 3P. The other 3 teams that went for a 3P all lost in the championship round. Never made it into the Super Bowl.
Hard.
It's really hard. But do you think Kansas City has what it takes, or do you think Buffalo is going to put a stop and continue tradition? Let us know in the comments. That's all the football games that we got going on. So now we've transitioned into some football news, and
real quick stuff.
The Bears made a hire.
Ben Johnson.
So Bears made a hire. I'm going to be real quick because I really don't have much on this. Is it a good hire? I think it's going to be great for the development of Caleb Williams. Do I think it's going to make a difference in win losses? At first, yes, but I think this team is going to die down a little bit. I think they're going to try to develop a system that they had in Detroit. Is the general manager going to allow for that? Like, feed into that system and give them the personnel for that? Who knows?
That's why they hired him, right?
But you get Ben Johnson. Good job, Chicago. You got a good offensive mind, which is what you needed. But again, in the long run, I don't think it's going to help you because your division is really tough.
I understand the hire because he's an offensive-minded coach. So I guess that's why they brought him in there to help develop Caleb Williams and play in a system where me personally, I would have got somebody, even though it's offense, but I would have got somebody more established, like McCarthy or any other name out there, because I just think the Bears, outside of wins and losses, I just think they need a foundation. So yeah, get an offensive-minded coach, but same time somebody with experience. But good luck to Ben Johnson.
Wish you luck, bro. New York Jets is conducting a second interview with Aaron Glenn. Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I'm a Jets fan. This one is I like it because he's a defensive-minded coach. I think that because we have a defensive-minded team, I think we play the Northeast, so I just think that rebuilding our defense is crucial. My only concern is that who's going to be the general manager because you're hiring a head coach before you hire a general manager. So that's my only concern right now, and who's going to be the quarterback for the moving forward with the New York Jets. So it's going to be rebuild or retool. What is it? So, but I'm ecstatic with the hire.
I think it's be a good hire if they do this hire. Here's two things that I want you guys to all be on the lookout for. If they hire Aaron Jones to be the head coach first before they hire a general manager,
Aaron Glenn before.
Aaron Glenn before they hire the general manager, I guarantee you Mike Tannenbaum is the general manager. I guarantee you're gonna have another Mike Tannenbaum. I'm saying that because he's one of the two GMs that are helping Woody Johnson in searching for this, not only a head coach, but a general manager. Um, to me, out of all the pundits on Get Up, First Take on ESPN platforms and stuff like that, Mike Tannenbaum's full of shit. He comes out with the outlandish fucking shit,
Yeah, sometimes we do.
and it looks like stupid.
I think
So this is why I had concerns when he was involved with this whole coaching solution.
well, he's from the. I think he's from the old era of football. You know what I'm saying? So that's my concern as far as like, we just need this era of football. We need fourth down coaches. You know what I'm saying? Because you can see that era of football.
Mhm.
So like we're like less punting and more fourth down, depending where you.
And if you're gonna want a fourth down coach, my recommendation is to get an offensive type of coach.
Or get or even though you get a defensive coach, but still get a great offensive coordinator.
What do you guys think? Pete Carroll is rumored to be heading to Oakland Raiders.
This was not a definite, but it sounds like this is most likely a possibility. I like it.
We talked about this pre-game, and I think I waffled back and forth like about 500 times on this. I'm not the biggest Pete Carroll fan. I, I give him credit in what he's done in USC, what he's done in Seattle. I think he is a more than an X and O kind of guy. He is a motivator of young men, a leader of young men, and a great motivator. So give him the right situation, the right coordinators. Yeah, I think he can blow the lid off.
I think he's a great pick, Thurman, because one, it's the Oakland Raiders. It's the Oakland Raiders. So getting somebody like Pete Carroll, a winning coach, an established coach, somebody with history with the NFL. He's a leader of men. I don't know if you saw a year or two ago, I think right before he left Seattle, he was throwing the football for being like 70 something years old. Like I was like, man, you could start for the Seattle Seahawks. They need a quarterback. So so he's out there with the guys. So but I think for the Oakland Raiders, I think this is a great pick because you get a leader that could lead men in the locker room.
Well, let us know what you guys think. Pretty much we kind of went through the whole shebang of everything. Hit you with some hot stove stuff, even though it's football, not baseball, but let us know. And also let us know how we're doing with the formats in here and there. We love the feedback.
Actually, guys, we know we're kind of laid up behind schedule on it, but we was only waiting for the result on it. But we'll be opening up a TikTok account where you guys will be interacting with us. We'll be making videos. We'll be making fun of each other. So I think after this show, we'll be having a TikTok account. So it'll be most likely the Up and Level production tag. Look for us. I know, Thurman, you're going to tag us on the show. So
yeah, stay tuned, stay peaked. And again, guys, always have fun with the games. Enjoy it. Gamble responsible if you're gambling. If you're drinking and partying, drink responsible. Always stay up. This is my man Osiris the Virus. I'm Thurman Ferbito.
Good luck this weekend, Thurman.
Good luck.
All right, guys, enjoy the games.
Stay up.